100 years later, Shatterhorn was founded. It continues to jump over and over again until what looks like this at 200 years ago from this current timeline. A red dragon terrorized the region. At least he was described as such. A red dragon by the name of Hookface terrorized the region. 100 years following, Hookface retreats to his lair north of Cauldron. There are reports that there were 2 dragons that descended into his lair, but they cannot vouch. It is up to this point that the book seems to end at 75 years. So 75 years ago. And it says Jzadrune, Jzadirune, Jzadrune. And the people of Cauldron are struck with the vanishing. They had no idea what this was, but something was infecting the plane. The gnomes entirely abandoned the stronghold and Cauldron to never return. And that's what you've got. Everything else seems to be very, very minor. Nuanced things. It looks as if someone has indicated a date up to a month ago that states that there was an attack on Cauldron. A unfortunate and prominent attack that resulted in the loss of many and watching the welfare of the people in the city fall. But it did not claim them. Is there anything that you wanted to look into from this point?
Not in particular, no. It's a lot of timeline to put together.
Yeah, it is. It seems like there was a lot of activity late 600 to 700 years ago. There was quite a bit of fall off after Surubar fell. You have no idea who Surubar Spellmason is. You've heard the name multiple times. There is a statue to the figure in the town. But to indicate that a single person raised these basalt walls themselves with this divine weapon, well, it's hard to refute that. And you have no idea if it's accurate or not, or if it's all hearsay. So, there's your scene. There is your note blast. If there is anything else that you wanted to maintain in that time, then you're good. Are we good? You happy with that?
I'm good.
Okay. Red, you're not really going to get much of a scene here. Largely because healing looks boring.
All right, I'm going to sit in my chair. I'm going to go...
Yeah, that checks out. That checks out.
I'm gonna have several hours of grueling physical therapy, in which I would prefer you to describe down to the last minute.
You did it yourself right there.
Perfect.
You got it, kid. You nailed it. Ronald, let's talk about Ulhime for a minute. You met up with Jakob, and each of you basically forked up enough money to afford 4,000 gold in gems. While you may not necessarily agree that it is the most valuable, you know that the people of this town still need to eat, and you don't want to see these people suffering. You're waking up literally every day and casting a spell that is at your highest level available so that you can help them. It feels very important. You know more than anything that you need to see to the mayor. Now you've put in for a request to see to the mayor, and your first response was that he was busy. Something is holding up his time, but that he would be able to see you in a few days. Come back in a few days, and that should be fine, which is still more than enough time for you to enact. So in that time, you start seeking out this tremor that you felt. I want to know how you go about doing that. What does this look like? Narratively, what do you do to sort of seek out this tremor-like effect?
So first, it's going to be just referencing back to where Thelsa said it was going.
Okay.
From there, if I remember correctly, I have 2 avenues I can try to explore. One being trying to go through Drek'Thar's way to see if there's a way in there. The other one is walking into the lake.
Walking into the lake, huh?
Yep.
Okay. What exactly are you expecting to find?
I don't know. Some sort of crevice, some opening of some sort, a tunnel.
Okay.
I mean, from how she described it, it wasn't a tremor. It was something moving. So if this thing's burrowing, there's bound to be an opening somewhere,
Sure.
or some give, you know.
Okay, let's start with the most obvious. So looking around. You just wanted to sort of poke around. How much time are you going to dedicate to this? Because you know that these wind on for a while.
I mean, a day or two, I guess, exploring both avenues, if it's possible.
Okay, so you want to dedicate like 16 to like 24 hours to this then.
Yeah.
You're willing to like high and low it. Okay.
I mean, the last threat we ignored kind of blew up in our faces, so...
So it's not a short amount. You're definitely going to like look into this with goal very quickly.
And let's be honest, you know, a dwarf spelunking, it's kind of natural.
Except he's a desert dwarf. He's literally from like the Egyptian area. So this, while it might feel natural, it's not super likely. But as a pommet, it's not super common for him. What they're more common for doing is guarding tombs. That's sort of their gig. Their tomb
I feel more
guardians.
at home being in Drek'Thar's way than I would be walking the lake.
Yeah. And it feels strange to you.
Yeah, I would cast light though as a way to help me see. Even though I have dark vision, doesn't mean I have much detail in the way of viewing stuff.
Sure. Give me 4 perceptions, please. And I want to know what your latent perception is.
What do you mean my latent perception?
What's your what is your just your flat information on that? What is your perception without you rolling?
Oh, it's 23.
Okay. Now go ahead and give me those rolls. That's... Actually, you didn't roll that exceptionally well. Are there any of those that you'd like to re-roll?
I guess just a 28.
Okay, go ahead and re-roll it for me. Those are linguistics checks.
Yeah, my bad.
All right. Yeah, that's really good, actually. I was hoping to see something of the such. Perfect. So your first few rounds, cycling Drek'Thar's way, this cave. You know what's normally down here. It's not even just Drek'Thar's way, right? Like, it's underneath the bathhouse. That's probably your method of attacking this as well, is peering through the bathhouse and locating it as such. Am I incorrect in assuming such?
No, that would be the way I'd be checking.
Okay. Okay, perfect. That's what I needed. We're going to go with you. I'm going to drop this down. Right here. All right, friend. You're spending your time walking through the depths of the woven layers of Cauldron. This intricate catacomb that seems to be tucked beneath the home of the many people that you have vowed to protect. And it's odd. It's very odd. Thank you so much, V, for the subs. I appreciate that, guys. Welcome in. That's another luck reroll right there, so that's 4. Everybody has access to another now. It's odd because you feel more at home now than you had ever before anytime that you'd come down here. You knew that this was a place of death. Anytime that you'd come down here, you've found the bodies. You've seen various animals that have been, their bones bleached down, aged, decay of weathering bits of flesh. But never before has it quite felt like this. Now it feels more like a catacombs. This doesn't feel like survival. This doesn't feel like something natural. Some of these bones weren't here previously. It's bizarre because you weren't expecting this. There are bones from people. Humanoid bones. Skin stripped. They're left in some sort of bile or ichor. Some nasty muck that sort of lurks about the bone. But when you sort of boot it away, it strips away as if it's some sort of loose, stuck substance.
He starts as he's like finished examining it. He takes the shield. He would take his shield off of his back and kind of just work it over, and then continue to peer down. What manner of creature are? What kind of creatures are dwelling here this time? And then he kind of just says that to himself and continues on.
When you peer around using the light that you've afforded yourself, you notice it could just be your eyes. You haven't been down here, you haven't gone through the depths at this point for so long. But there is a film over everything, some substance, something dried. Is it a debris? Is there any way that you might test this to see if you could recognize it?
I mean, I don't have survival, but I mean, I would try to take a look at it to see if it's like drying, if it's dried to like kind of getting more and more wet as the further I go, to seeing if it's like newly applied.
How do you look at this? Do you just like peer down? Do you like grab it at the surface to like feel what it might feel like between your fingers? What does this look like?
I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to feel it with my gauntlet hand, but yeah, I would like push my finger. Well, once again, put my shield back, and then I guess try rubbing my fingers against it to see if anything happens with it. If there's any like pull, or if it just kind of just comes off.
The further and further you go down into the tunnels of Drek'Thar's Way, you notice that it seems to not necessarily grow in density as much as it grows in moisture. There is certainly a heat here, and the further you go down, it's not a secret. You're in the bowels of a volcano. That's going to happen, even if dormant. You know that somewhere lava still flows. The magma tubes still sift up. It vents. And variously, it will continue so. But the further you go down, you continue to finger the substance to sort of see if it's sticky, if it is adhesive, if there's anything about it that sort of gives it away. But the more you descend, the more you notice that it seems to bead up. B-E-A-D. It beads between your fingertips. It's a moisture at first. And then as you sort of rub it between your material gauntlet, it beads in your hand like wax. And though you are dead, though you are an undead, an arch-lich, you can still activate your senses. And you can smell. There's something rancid about this. Sweat Not steam, but sweat. It smells of bile, of rot. You recognize the smell, but you can't quite place it. Now, it could just be a smell of a hard day's work, right? Way back when, at home, when you were training with your brothers and your brothers' brothers. A long day work. Everybody sweats. Everybody sweats. And body sweat, body odor is pungent. There's a hint of that here. Give me a memory test. You're not sure what it's about. The skin is too brightly colored, if it is skin at all. But it sort of reminds you of days wearing your armor in the catacombs of the tomb that you were protecting, hoping that one day that you would ascend to guardian of a pharaoh. And that's the goal of your family. To protect the divine. And there are times that you would sit down after work and pace your palms across your legs, and you would feel the sweat beat up and break across your legs, and you would look at your palms and see hundreds of beads of sweat and skin pool up over your hands. It's here between your fingers that you see the same thing. And it reminds you of that time.
So it's essentially what I'm getting is this is skin or the membrane of like the top layer of skin where sweat would protrude from.
Yeah. But it's not just a small amount.
Would this be like
it
a reminder
covers
of like
everything. Every
Would
surface.
it be like walking through Occipitus again? Similar to that?
Sort of, but there wasn't really much sweat there. There wasn't really much in the way of moisture as much as it was. Everything was sucking and drawing away the moisture as much as possible.
Okay.
It's almost as if the floor of Occipitus was an encapsulating dermis, right? It was keeping the moisture within, and it was very, very rarely was it pushing any fluid out. Here, though, it's like it was spray painted on. Absolutely everything is covered, lined with this sweat-like substance.
I'm gonna cast Detect Good and Evil, or Detect Evil, sorry. I'm gonna see if there's like an aura that's kind of pulling its way further in, or...
Yeah, you definitely sense that there is something, or was something here. But when you glance around, it's bizarre because you see it in spots. You look off to the left and there is this aura that stagnates and permeates over this particular spot of various juttings and outcroppings of rock. 15 feet away over the stone, you see the same thing.
I would follow that then, the consistency, if it's bouncing further in.
And you do. You follow it for a while, before inevitably you know that you have to go back to the surface. But you know that you'll have to come back. You did say over the course of 2 days.
Yeah.
On your second day that you return, waiting for your meeting with the mayor, you follow it back down. You make haste. You know exactly how far you have to go before you leave off. It doesn't take you very long. Probably another 15, 20 minutes before you find that there's some, I don't want to say debris, some remnants of an age. But you do find something. You see it, it's stuck. An outcropping of rocks seems to bear some image, a fuzz or a fur, you can't quite make out what it is. When you investigate, it appears that it is a doll, a corncob doll, with what looks to be some crafting or shaping of hair made of twine. And it too is covered in this substance. 10 to 15 feet away, what looks to be a crutch. Another 30 or 40 feet, You feel as if you found a tooth, but it's made of wood. I don't really know what to make of it. Not really sure what to think. There's some crude spectacles another 30 or 40 feet. No glass in them whatsoever, but the metal left behind. When you turn on your sight to see if there is an evil here that seems to permeate. Yeah. It's even more so. Except it's not just in spots. It's fresher. The area seems to linger of this malice.
I mean, if time's still being a factor, given what I have to do, I would do the same thing. Make a mark or a note of what I'm seeing, knowing that there's an evil aura, and as soon as I can, tell my party, and pretty much gonna probably tell the mayor, but I'll tell the mayor aside from the nobles, like not regarding them.
Sure. You don't have a line in with those higher up nobles anyway. The
Yeah.
governing party will not see you. You are not really on their radar. I mean, you are, but it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
You do note that the area that you are in is where your copper veins are. Your
Yeah.
prominent copper veins are in this area. And those bits of shavings that you had seen previously, it's all gone.
Fully cleaned out.
I mean, the copper still remains.
Yeah, but like
Any of the loose debris, any of the stuff that had fallen, it's all gone.
Okay.
You go back to the surface. Okay. We're going to change the tone a little bit. Ample out the tune. You find your way back out of the dungeon, moving as far and forward as you can. Upward ever you ascend, back unto the bathhouse. Now you know that you need to see the mayor. There is some mild cleaning that he will expect of you. You can't walk into his home smelling of rancid
Yeah,
meat.
I would have cleaned up before doing any of that. I wouldn't have come in like that on him.
Okay. Very well. Then he will see to you just fine. Is there anything that you wanted to do beforehand? Anybody that you needed to see that you felt this was relevant to?
Other than Thelsa, who was with me going back to the bathhouse, Rahk wouldn't be there, right?
Rock's not there. Thelsa is trying everything that she can to stay at her church, the Church of
Okay.
Ouijas.
Cort's recovering.
Cort is recovering, correct.
Then it would probably be bring Jakob, because when I talk to the mayor, I'm going to have to tell him exactly what's going on.
Okay. Jakob, do you think that you would be willing to go into that meeting with him?
A meeting with the mayor? Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, as lieutenant of the guard, it's not like he shouldn't be able to meet with him.
Sure. Now, just for the interest of myself, Jakob is aware what he is, correct?
I don't think anyone has yet told him that the mayor is a
Beholder.
beholder.
Correct. Okay. All right. This should be interesting.
Surprise is today.
All right, friend. Then as such, it will be. You find Jakob maintaining a position at the guardhouse. You know that it is about 30 minutes from the guardhouse to the mayor's manor home, this crenellated micro-castle inside of the castle itself. Inside the walls of Cauldron, behind the bastion, of basalt. Kiana will relieve you from your position, and Ulhime meets you deftly.
He will, of course, make sure that Kiana gets, the notes from the earlier lost child case, but Ulhime, how can I help? What's up?
I have a meeting with the mayor, and thought you might want to tag along. There's some information I have to go over. Miss Green, if you're available as well, you probably would like to come.
At this point, Jacob would turn to Kiana and lift a brow. No need for two of us to go, but if you'd prefer that over...
Well, in any case, you can come and then I guess relay it back to her if you feel like you guys need someone here.
Kiana looks to each of you and she gives you a nod, and then she sort of claps you on the shoulder. I've had plenty of sleep, and I'm grateful for that. Get your ass out of here. I'll be fine. And she gives you this very tight-lipped smirk.
I'll come to relieve you tonight. And with that, he'll turn around and start off with Ulhime, kind of stretching his shoulders out and working his eyes against the daylight.
You see Ulhime's like eyes kind of like beat up a little bit, like they're going like larger. What happened to your face? Oh wait, and he kind of just like pats him. He's like, forgot it's always looked like that. Come on, we haven't walked together in a while.
You do that again, I'm going to go ahead and figure out if I can take a hand with one of these.
More than welcome to try. And he, before he walks out, he's like, "You're not taking the cloak this time, are you?"
Cloak?
He kind of points back to, well, looks
You
like
mean the
you're...
mask.
Either one, Jacob. Just, I don't think you need it.
The mask is destroyed. I don't know what cloak you speak of, and
The one you normally wear when we were walking. But if you don't need it or you don't remember it, it's fine, as long as you're confident with yourself and comfortable.
Now, Jacob, you can tell that he has something that's bothering him. He seems adamant very, very quick. He's not really his same quirky self. He gives one little quick jab as to place normalcy, but then he's quick to move.
Shortening his stride to kind of match Ulhime's, he'll rest his arms back. It's less a matter of being confident and comfortable, more just I'm too tired at this point to care. But what has you so excited?
If excitement was a word I could use, then I would, but trying to remedy a problem before it gets out of hand and before we have another, and he kind of points, like generalizes around something like this happening.
Well, whatever it is, it certainly put a pep in your step.
It has. Have you had anyone come in about people missing?
Well, strangely, yes, but that's not altogether odd. Since things...
Recently, have you had a group of people missing?
A group of people? No, but the gentleman did say that his daughter vanished last night, but he'd also mentioned she'd been under a fever and had been speaking about a new friend by the name of Char, I think.
This is actually like 3 or 4 days later. You've been offering your help around the office, and she's taken it as much as she possibly can. She is fairly reinvigorated, You notice that the bags have lessened on her face, and she's managed to even get a bite of food. So she's relatively happy about all things. That's why she was like, "I've got plenty of rest," and she clapped you on the back. This is like 3 or 4 days later.
Gotcha. A few days ago, we had a report of a missing girl, but no word on that particular instance since. I didn't really look through records and files and so forth, but I can certainly speak with Kiana and see if there's been any rash of missing people. Why do you?
He kind of leans in as they're walking. We might have another lingering threat. One that we need to take care of soon.
Well, hopefully sooner than we took care of Dougal Bras.
Gives him a nod. True enough, lad. Anyways, we haven't really had much time to talk. How are your eyes?
Oh, they're fine. It was a magical blindness. I would have eventually recovered regardless. But, no, the last few days have been awkward. I've had a lot on my mind that I've been working my way through.
Like what?
Now's probably not the time to talk about it. I mean, I understand that we do probably need to sit down and speak sometime soon, but right now it's too complex a subject for the walk that we're on. We'll have to just sometime soon sit down over I would say a pint, but I don't think we have much beer left in the city. But sit down over a meal and actually speak about things.
Very well. And I guess we'll continue our walk until we get to the mayor's.
With some lingering conversation about some of the things that have been happening, you find your way to the mayor's hold. Again, it is a small castle, in case you have not seen it yet, Jacob. It is off and to the left of our map as we know it.
Oh yeah, I've seen... Yeah.
Okay. It's right off of Magma Avenue. Anything past this is considered nobility. People on the outside ring are, unfortunately, the first to be attacked when anything breaches the walls, but they are arguably the safest and the furthest away from the quote-unquote rabble in the town.
Yeah, the higher along the rings you go, you are, the more affluent you are. And
correct.
Well, him having his own quote-unquote fort within the city, he is probably one of the safest individuals around. I remember it from, he remembers it from the night he was fighting with the, while the city was on fire.
Right.
Yeah. He even remembers meeting the mayor.
Good. The two of you find your way into the manor walls. The sounds of the city are alive, despite the overhanging dreary mood that seems to lurk. While you are not quite circling into your winter season, if you can recall back from the story's sake, it doesn't really snow in Cauldron. The winter season is promptly called the rainy season.
Oh, fuck, the water rods. Shit. Oh, I'm on mute. Never mind. Yeah, keep going.
Perfect. You know that you're nearing that time. It is becoming more and more feasible that becomes a pressure again. But for now, it's neither here nor there. You're met by a few guards, and you are expected, Ulhime. Your companion, not so much. Now, Jacob, these men don guard garb, but these men do not serve you or Kiana. They do not serve Cauldron's guard. You don't
No,
know.
they're the personal guard of the mayor.
Yeah. You don't know them. You have no idea. But since you're with Ulhime, and he's expected, and you're not causing a fuss or a ruckus, they watch you eerily as you go in. You got one of those faces. And the fact that you have 4 arms.
And horns. And look like a Glabreezu.
Yeah, it might be the cloven hooves, though. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure it out.
As we walk past, I'll give them each a nod, gentlemen.
That is incredibly reassuring.
Mental Gen?
But they let you pass by with ease. You're met inside by a butler who establishes himself as the mayor's servant. He guides each of you upstairs, waiting at the landing, knocking at the door before being invited in, turning the knob, and then allowing both of you inside. And Jacob, I don't think you've been in his private office, right?
No, I've never been inside the walls of the mayor's home.
It is the absolute ideal of what you might think nobility is. Rich and grand wood in all design. Everything has this shimmer and shine. Dust does not dote any wall, any object. It smells of beautiful home-cooked meals. Everything is sort of perfect. It's eerie. Another person...
Particularly given the rest of the city.
Exactly.
But, he just keeps his claws behind him, behind his back, and makes sure that before he steps in, he wipes off his hooves.
Entering inside of the mayor's personal quarters, this room, this office, it is a little bit more terse. It's a bit more business-oriented in its design. And the mayor is, as such, all business. A heaviness lay over the room. The moment that you pass the threshold of the door, you can see that he's dutifully at work. He doesn't mind your company. He glances up, and he's not shocked to see you. He nods to you, Ulhime, and he looks to you. And then he looks back down at the paperwork, and he motions for you in with his 2 fingers. He offers the seats in front of him.
The other nobles aren't there, right?
No, they're not.
No.
He places his quill down, stretches in a seat.
Eyeing over paperwork again.
Always it is in the job, in the best interest of Cauldron. Boring, mundane, but what can I do for you?
Before Ulhime even sits down, he undoes the shield from his back and then puts it next to the mayor's desk again. Like walks around and like places it right there. Had to borrow it for an incident the last time.
You do realize that that's not how gifts work.
Yeah. Also, the tapestry. When I get a chance, I will send you a donation, and the window will also.
Yeah, Jacob's just going to kind of knit his brow, looking at Ulhime like, "The fuck did you do?"
He somehow managed to break into my private office, tear down my curtain, don it as some sort of rustic leotard, and then burst through the glass as if he was birthing himself from my home.
It was for. And he kind of points in direction towards the church, if you remember.
Do you know how expensive glass is in the city?
Seeing as we're low on glass makers, then yes. Probably more so now.
I will find another curtain. But please, find another way out of the building.
Like a door.
Could put some hinges right there and I could step right out.
I'm not going to be putting a door in the place of my window. It is not a convenience. That would be terrible. Terrible design.
Look, either way, you can hover over this issue as much as you want, but...
And how did you get in anyway? The guard are consistently patrolling the lot. You weren't even seen.
I
Why did you
he-
have to use a curtain?
He glances
As
down
a-
at the shield. Never mind. I've gathered already, answered my own question.
Yeah. And it doesn't look like the trouble's going to be ending anytime soon. But we'll get to that after the paperwork I've assumed you've gotten, or at least a note of why I've asked to see you.
No, I was never informed. Just that you wish to see me.
Yes, well, it's for two things. One, I need some information on the head priest from the Temple of Cort. I don't know if you carry any form of documentation of his homestead, but I need to look into his disappearance. So if you know anyone, or if you have any documentation of his address, then that'd be greatly appreciated.
For what it's worth, and it is not owed, I do not know the reasons that you are seeking out the priest of Cort. He's watching you very intently, but his home was recently vacated. His belongings left behind. Personal matters seem to have been stuffed and burned in the fireplace.
Either way, if I can get the location, I just need to look into some stuff on my own.
Certain. Are you familiar with where the Temple of Cort is?
Yes.
And I'm
But
assuming
ask the other priests.
the other priests
They've
were
been-
murdered.
I told you and Kiana about this a while back.
They were found in a ritual sacrifice. We still do not entirely understand whom, and why they would have done this. The Temple of
Forgive
Cort
my ignorance.
is a respected location, and members were devout. Admittedly, things have been off-kilter lately. Tensions are high, and, well, this month has not been short of disasters. But this is something that I'm not fully aware of myself. I believe that there is some foul work afoot.
Well, going by how you describe the situation of his home, personal effects and so forth being burned, I'm not so sure if that's foul play so much as a man leaving in a hurry.
The last I spoke with you of this man, you reported something of his daughter.
Yeah,
I can't recall what it was that you had said.
Well, the incident that pretty much leveled our city, his daughter was a part of. She was one of the vampire children.
Oh. I understand. It still doesn't seem within reason as to why he would leave.
He was harboring her. And during the assault, I ended up chasing her into the temple. He tried to keep her from being destroyed, and I used my magic to destroy her.
What a fool.
Personal shame? Fear of
If-
retribution.
If you can provide proof of this, then the town of Cauldron would be grateful for your aid this time. Have you reported this to the command, or second in command of the guard?
He immediately looks over to Jacob. We did now.
Oh, I had not the pleasure. I
Forgive
didn't
myself, sir.
realize.
I should have announced myself when I stepped in, but you two fell into conversation and you were busy with your work. My name is Jacob Rivers. I'm the lieutenant.
Jacob Rivers. I've seen your name. I've read that many a time.
Hopefully in the best of ways.
Oh, most certainly.
Oh. Well, that's certainly good. We saw each other briefly on that particular evening that Ulhime's speaking of.
Jacob, give me a perception.
Yeah, because I'm great at those rolls.
You have an extra reroll.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I can do better, but screw it. It's getting close to.
1.
Don't you curse me with that.
Natural 1.
Reroll
Ooh,
it.
nice.
I'm using
Yes.
one of my rerolls. I'm going to
he-
force you to reroll it.
Pardon?
I'm
He's-
using one
he's
of my luck
making you-
rerolls to force you to reroll it.
You son of a bitch. All right.
Ulhime, give me perception.
Me?
I'm
Same exact roll.
going to use my last luck reroll to force you to reroll that.
Me?
Yes.
And you want me to give you a perception as well, correct?
Motherfucker. Of course. Of course I fucking played. Oh, man. What a bad gamble.
Gambling on my bad luck? Come on now.
I'll burn a reroll.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Ulhime, you see this with ease. Jacob, you on the other hand, sense something a little different. While you rolled high enough to pick up some things, you're not going to see some of the same things that Ulhime sees. Ulhime, you see a shimmer of the image before you. It is brief. And you sense the tyrant that lurks behind the desk. His eyes have trained on Jacob. Not 2 eyes. All of them.
Oh.
Where before,
As-
they were moving around the room, sort of spanning in and taking in everything. When he declares that he's Jacob Rivers, they all move at attention and focus down. The irises begin to briefly spin and turn to refocus, sort of like the lens of a camera. And as he's
Ulhime-
speaking about this, you see the mouth open, showing rows of razor-sharp teeth.
As he's doing that, Ulheim goes, does this.
Jacob, what you see. There is a flash and a shimmer. You don't catch the details as you appear to be moving up and down. I even watched you carefully there when he said that everything was mentioned positively. You glanced down at yourself, and you did as such. The only thing that trained your eyes back up was this flash. There was a shimmer, and you thought for certain that you saw a third eye. You're pretty sure. There's no way. But when you blinked, it was gone. And he's just intently peering at you. Ulhime, when you do that, when you cough, you point to the eye. The stalks move to you before the vision fades. Would you like a glass of water, Ulhime?
Sure.
He stands, grabbing a pitcher. New perceptions, the both of you.
Well, I've used all my luck rerolls, so here's hoping.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay. And Jacob does
Didn't
not
wanna
see
roll.
this. He does not notice it. Ulhime, you hit just the right number to get a 50-50 roll.
I'll do odd.
Okay. And it's even.
I'll re-roll it.
Okay.
Am I calling or just like re-rolling my perception?
Which one are you rolling? Are you rolling mine or are you rolling yours?
I'll reroll my perception. That's fine.
Okay.
Then I'll have one left after this.
Oh,
I'll burn the last one. It's fine.
okay, all right. That's gonna see it. It's more than enough. You broke it in measures. When he stands and he seems to grab at a pitcher and a tumbler, he places it on the desk, and in that moment, the vision fades again for you. You glance over at Ulhime, and Ulhime doesn't shake, he doesn't stutter, he can't seem to see this. But what you see as the man takes 2 steps, you hear the audible footfall of boots as they lick across the wooden floor. It creaks. But what you see is different. An eye stalk leaning down, wrapping up and gripping onto the pitcher, while another eye stalk causes 3 tumblers to lift, to couple next to each other, and he turns to put them down at the desk. You see the beholder in his shape. You see the room distend and grow and malign. The fire seems to also simultaneously grow. You've seen this before. You've seen him inside of his domain.
Yeah.
And something is forcing his vision, or it's forcing his control. You can see it. You're no longer seeing the mayor's face, you're seeing the beholder. And there is something wicked that lurks behind that massive central eye that dominates the room, watching every move, every palpitation, every breath.
I would look at Jacob. Sorry, Jacob, but this portion of the conversation I do have to have in private with him. If you can give us just a minute, please.
If you're certain.
I'll call you back in if it needs to be discussed, but I'll tell you everything in just a bit.
Very well. And rocking over, he'll use the staff to push himself up and just stroll back out into the hall, where he'll stand looking awkwardly at the door and then just kind of rock to and fro.
Sure. The butler stands and waits. He never pays you any mind. He doesn't even notice. He notices that you're there, but he steps back, crossing his arms.
Once Jacob leaves, does he start calming down?
One last perception from Jacob.
Nope, that ain't
Not
gonna
enough.
do it.
That ain't gonna do it. Yeah, it's not enough. The door, when it closed, is tight. While you can see light from around the rim, you hear nothing. No muffled tones, no nothing whatsoever.
It's like a wall of silence.
Yes, yes.
Which would be reasonable, considering his well-to-do status. And he'd just kind of look over at the butler and, smile and nod. Private matters. I'll be going back in just a moment.
And you asked him what again, Ulhime?
Like seeing as I was observing to see if the shadows and stuff were like dropping as Jacob left, because the 1,000-yard stare on him was a pretty good indicator that something was off.
When the door closes, a tumbler hits the lip of the desk, dropping to the floor and breaking instantly. And with it, the facade shatters before you. The room goes to this enormous domain, this vibrant in design, red-walled domain. You can see it now, but it's quickly dotted out as he closes the gap upon you, and you can feel the heat emanating from that central eye as he speaks, and he's so close, it's enough to lead to much discomfort. What did he say his name was?
If you're asking, you already know.
Say his name.
It's Jacob Rivers.
Jacob Rivers. is he? Glabrezo.
If it needs to be spelled out.
Tell me if he's Glabrezo born.
He's the son of Nabdatoran.
He kind of floats back, and the eyes begin to wildly sort of whip around the room. And he's watching intensely. Do you know who you brought in here?
He needed to hear the conversation that we were going to have until you started slipping. I believe his father already knows about you as well.
Yes, I bet he does. We've known each other for a very long time.
Look, while we're here...
Is Nabdatoran here?
Yes.
Where is he?
Ulhime just shrugs. He appears when he wants, very much like you or any other entity that seems to be inhabiting Cauldron at this point.
Why is he here? Is it for the boy?
I can't say for certain. I'm not sure. He puts his hand up to him. Relax. We have other things to discuss.
I should swallow him, chewing him to bits, bringing about his own unhappiness. How do you think Nabdatoran would feel if I ate his progeny?
Nab wouldn't be alone in protecting him.
Let me guess, you would protect him too?
Not just me. Not just our guild. Apparently Nab has other allies here.
Nabdatoran stole something very, very important from me.
And he shrugs. What?
When you say what, that central eye, that unshaking bleb, this motionless blackness. Not what? The lips purse and seem to drop over the teeth, and they clench down tightly. Whom?
The name?
Someone very important to me. My reason.
Oh shit. I think I know who it is.
Her name was Melody Rivers. And she was my wife. I took her in kindred marriage. And I grew to know love for the first time. I've ruled over the city for hundreds of years. I met Surabar Spellmason himself. But when that Celestia-touched woman found me, I found whom I was. He stole from me, and I will take something he cares for.
He puts his hand up, like almost like he's kind of like walking towards where the door would be, putting his hand up. If you want to stop Nabdatoran, then help us stop Nabdatoran. Taking his son, my friend, will not bring you any justice.
If
or any sense of
Nabdatoran
peace.
is here, then he is here for purpose, and it is for that boy. I thought I recognized that skin, those malign claws. His body is a paperweight, a tool in the service of madness. I'm hungry.
and stave your appetite for now. And if you want something to eat, as I said, help us stop Nabdatoran. His son will not bring you any reprieve. I can guarantee you that.
Speak his name so candidly and in open air, as if you're peers.
I've had to work with him a couple of times.
And you've had to work with me a couple of times. And now...
Exactly.
Ulhime Shieldbearer, you have to make a decision. An ultimatum, if you will. What will you do, as I don't need to propose that?
His back turns. He spins around, as what you might see is a normal human man pacing. Inaction is a direct action.
As you said right now, or as you said before, right now, the people of this city are what I care for. So, if you want to continue to protect these people, I'm going to need your help with a couple of things. I'm willing to discuss this further with you, but I can't do it now.
This is not the time to bargain. Trust when I say that I'm doing everything in my power to not exit this door and to wrap my maw upon his figure, to flay the tool of Nabdatoran and watch him lose something important. Do you know what it's like to lose someone you love?
Yes, I've had it happen quite a few times, but I didn't turn to vengeance. You kind of seem like Ulhime, like I am up and down. He's like, show some tact.
This is all I have to offer in this time. What do you propose I do, Ulhime?
Well, it's not a secret that you can keep track of us whenever you need to. I'm not hiding from you in particular. When the time comes, and you're probably going to have to stop me before getting to Nab, but when that time comes, come to the aid of our group and kill him.
You do realize that I have more of a right to your ally, your friend, than you do. He is the son of my wife. Maybe I should introduce myself as his father. How do you think he would handle that?
You're asking me a question I don't know the answer to. I've been around Jakob long enough, but I don't know his mind well enough to give you an answer on that, even if you're asking rhetorically.
And if he's here now, he never got to meet her. He never got to know her greatness.
Then be a better man and help.
I am no man. But you can be. What is it they say? Blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. And you are his covenant. If you have worked with Nabdatoran, you are just as manipulated.
I chose to save the life of my friends. Call it what you want, but I made a choice to keep them alive.
The moment that you were involved, you lost your will, and now you're his. I've known him for hundreds of years. We're were allies for a short time. I watched his words seep into the people and controlling them. I know what he's capable of. See these eyes. They see all. But my magic cannot contain the mouth of a man. And that is what he controls.
Well, at the very least, you have an insurance policy against me. And he kind of motions over to the shield. As I said, when the time comes, chances are I might turn against my friends. When that happens, shatter the shield.
Then maybe you should explain that to them and get the fuck out of my room. Blood of the Covenant, Ulhime. Your friendships are waning.
A lot of things are in this day. And things will continue to do so if we don't stop them. But as I said, I've come here for other business.
And I have no time for it.
It's something you're going to probably be pretty interested in.
I'm sorry. My hands are full. I have plenty on my mind as is.
Very well. At the very least, you should know. And he kind of starts getting ready to walk towards the door. There's something beneath the city still. It's taking people.
There's always something beneath the city, Ulhime. There is a heart that beats in the core of Cauldron. You'll find out sooner before later.
Whatever it is starting to take the people that we've sworn to protect. So, do me a favor and look into it if you can, or at least help us when the time is right.
Certainly. When things align, I will send. As such. Good day, Ulhime.
Now the figure before you twists him a line back, and you see a man picking up glass shards from the floor. He motions to the door, and it swings open. Jakob, where you stand, you see the mayor picking up glass shards from a tumbler.
When the mayor does that, Ulhime puts his hand out, and you just see this like blue glow, and then the cup reforms because he uses make whole on it.
You have my thanks. Now, see your way out. I have many things to tend to.
We'll keep in touch.
Blood of the Covenant, Ulhime.
Gives him a nod.
Yeah. Jacob will kind of glance between the two and then just give a hesitant bow towards the mayor. A pleasure meeting you again, sir. Be well.
Pleasure's all mine. Be on your way, gentlemen. I have work ahead of myself. Forgive me.
Yes, sir. And with that, Jacob will kind of stand back and wait on Ulhime, kind of giving him a look of curiosity because, you know, as far as he knows, he was just kind of brought along and introduced and then kicked the fuck out.
Sorry about that, lad. Let's go. It appears we're going to have to take care of this issue below the city on our own.
Issue below the city.
Yeah. I think the missing people that have been coming up in the past few days, I think I know where they're going. Or being taken, to be exact. But we have to tell the others, and we have to act fast.
So you'll spend your time... Forgive me, go ahead.
Yeah, seems we're going to have to sit down and talk a little sooner. Least you could have done is let off with that at Kiana's office.
You can tell her.
I have no choice now, don't I? But yes, gather the others. I'll go report to Kiana and meet you there at the bathhouse. Fair?
Fair enough.
So each of you will part, going your separate ways to inform your allies that there is some fuckery afoot. You'll find your way outside of the city to alert Rahk. You'll make your way to the young Cort, figuring out exactly how to operate and live in his current body. He's finding his footing well. He's no longer using a crutch. And he seems to, for one reason or another, be attempting to stretch out his metaphorical wings. Though he's been advised multiple times to lay down. Springtime of the youth, they say. That's where we're going to end. Go ahead.
Oh, never mind. Oh, it's nothing. If we're ending, then we're good.
This is where we're going to end tonight's session. The next session will appear with everyone reconvening. Each of you have some new information to bring to the table. We will launch with Innie. Since Thelsa did not get a scene, we will start with that. So, that's the end of episode 184. I hope that you've enjoyed it. It was fun for me.
Yeah, there was a few disclosures there that's going to definitely make this one of the must-see episodes.
What do you think was the most prominent? I'm curious.
For me?
Yeah.
I mean, he just found out his stepdad.
Well, no, I didn't find out shit. Ulhime just found out who Jakob's mother is, that she was Celestia touched, i.e. angelic, and the motherfucker didn't say shit.
Here, watch this. Here, this is how this sounds. Watch. All right. Hey, see you later. BT Dubs. Know who your mom is.
She's a nice woman. I took her out last week.
By the way, I've been looking into something. The mayor had some information. That's why it was personal. Yeah, it turns out I know who your mother is. What? You know who my mom is?
What was her name again?
Melody Rivers.
You knew my mom?
Yeah, I'm sure there was a lore drop for a lot of people on all fronts. Short of Red's, of course. But his last session was a big lore dump. That last scene specifically with Red was informative on a lot of levels. It's unfortunate that he doesn't remember, or anybody remembers, that last bit of detail, or the reason that Nephitorin went.
Everything but the actual object itself. I remember everything but that specific name, which sucks.
I think it's important to note. SoCal
I'm gonna
says,
have to go to the.
Dude, how many evil beings did your mom sleep with? Damn. Something you have to remember.
That's mean.
Evil guys, just because they're on that alignment of evil, doesn't necessarily mean that they're like chaotic,
it's
stupid,
kind of like
right?
It's kind of like why English people make the best supervillains, and why women like the accent so much. It's the bad boy mystique, My mom was not a slut.
No, I don't think that was the case, and I also think that's also mildly inappropriate. Let's at least hear out the story first, right? Before you immediately assume that mom is out there stooping the demons. Let's just give it a no, SoCal. It was more along the lines of something that was stated later about mom being a bit of a particular term. More or less, you don't really know the details yet. It'll come out. These things will come out. It'll happen. But in the meantime, everybody's been informed. Everybody is going to be informed of these details. And eventually, when it all comes out, you'll see how convoluted the plot actually is. Nothing is as straight and narrow as you might come to believe. But this is fun for me. It's fun dropping these bits because I said a lot to each player And if they did or didn't pick them up, that's on them. That's on them. You can't force people to recognize the truth that's in front of them, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, particularly with Rahk's research.
Yeah, there was a lot there. A lot there.
That was meaty.
It was very meaty, yes. Navikin's Mr. Stelio girl.
Oh no.
But of course, the downright most important part had to be Cort. Like 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, without his part, this session wouldn't even be hardly worth watching.
Hide your kids, hide your angel. Jesus Christ. No, it was good. It was really good. I really enjoyed this. We'll see about how much gets picked up. I'm gonna go ahead and do a bit of an after show with my guys right now, and we'll tackle that as such. Actually, we can just do it right now. We don't have to head off air. If you guys have any questions right now, specifically for the players, go ahead and file them in. I wanna hear from my players now. I'm curious, in the essence of an after show. How do you guys feel? How are you feeling right now? Do you feel like you've got too much going on? Is there too much on your plates?
No, I feel like with what we have now, given the bigger evils we're dealing with, I feel like this is, if we don't fuck up and dwaddle, this is something we can manage sooner rather than later.
Cort's plotting revenge.
I figured the Cort's plotting revenge. I don't know how he's gonna manage to do it, but
Aggressively.
Well, first and foremost, I want to ask, the entrance that Ulhime found, is that the entrance that we used previously to get into the Undercauldron?
That's inside of the bathhouse. He basically used that to walk down and find his way down through Drekthar's Way. Unless you're talking about the exit at the base of the volcano, which he would have found. He inevitably would have found that. With all the lore bombs, what are your thoughts?
So you're saying that the bones and everything are being found in Drekthar's Way?
Yes.
Not. Oh, okay.
What are your thoughts about moving forward? Lost, are you asking me, or are you asking the players? Yeah, I'm generally curious. The players. So, what do you guys think after the lore bombs? Have you sort of like what do you piece together? Like, give me your pie in the sky ordeal here. What's happened?
As players, it's going to come down to what we're saying to each other. I plan on telling Jakob, like in the mix of, the big people we're dealing with. But
sure,
fairly soon.
If we all group
Sometime.
up and it's, nothing's going on. What do you guys want to do? Then it's like we really can't move forward with anything. But that's we're hoping we can kind of put that all on the table when we reconvene.
We're just going to inform everyone that Navikin's the one who burned his shit down. The rest of the information.
Oh, and are you actually going to say,
I mean, if Ronald's
the name of whatever it was?
I plan to before next session, and I have a feeling Ronald's going to basically be like, "Yo, dog, why were you foaming at the mouth the other day when you were bleeding internally?" Be like, "Well, I just something about his mustache. I wanted to rip it off his face." So
that's good.
Yeah, it was just the mustache, nothing else.
SoCal asks, after hearing all the new news, how does Rahk view his party members? Wasn't he still cautious about the mayor's offer to spy on them?
Yeah, Rahk still is judging his party members based off their own actions and not necessarily the perception of them in the town, because Jesus Christ, they've got a bad rap. Some of it is deserved, some of it is not.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah, hopefully, he'll be like, "Jakob, I'm sorry that you've been dealing with all you have. I see you are a good man now deep down. and you are not guilty of all these crimes."
Deep down.
We want you to know, are you going to look for your mom after he finds out?
Jakob knows his mother's dead.
Yeah.
Jakob knows his mother's dead. He recalls being an orphan.
But now you know about your mom, which is a cool thing.
Well, no, I don't know shit.
Not yet, but you will know about your mom.
When that happens, a lot of things are going to click. particularly about the staff. Because, yeah. And then he'll have more of an idea as to just what his father did and why he did it. Because now, once that comes out, he's going to realize his father probably wanted him to get that staff specifically for unlocking it and being able to, cut things asunder. And something tells me that Sir Bar Spellmason put some kind of, juju on Cauldron while sealing Nabthatorin that he wants unlocked. Call it a, oh shit, what is that knot?
Fireman's knot?
No, Vesuvian knot?
Ves-
The one that was cut in half.
Let's look. Let's Google it.
Come on, chat. You guys are No. Gordian
Yes.
knot. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank you,
the
Jen.
correct.
But yeah,
It is the Gordian knot.
there's this Gordian knot of spell work that, apparently Jacob's going to think needs to be cut, i.e. by the staff, now that it's been made whole. But yeah. Needless to say, it's been a very fucked up month for Jacob if he finds all this out. First I find out I'm not who I am. Nabthatorin's my father. My mother. Apparently somebody knew my mother. She apparently got around.
Jesus Christ.
She had a thing for eyes.
There's a lot of ways that you can take that. A lot of ways that you can interpret it.
Oh God, and if he actually finds out that the mayor is in fact a beholder, I mean, that's going to be awkward because the first, when he first figures out about his mother, he's going to want to know about her.
Of course he is. I'm hoping that's the case.
Of course he's going to want to know about her. I mean, he's already sent spinning by being Nabthatorin's child, and he's spinning even more knowing that all of his quote-unquote past is now fabrication. He's going to be desperate for something to go ahead and grasp onto that is good and real.
Well, we'll see how this plays out. But now it's been confirmed that Mom was, at the very least, what has been called a Celestia touched, or as some of you guys may additionally know, an Aasimar.
My mother was pretty. I don't look anything like her, do I?
Well, kinda. She was a human Aasimar, so you're maintaining a medium form. Unfortunately, you're stuck with that. Your bloodline is giving you some of the figures and features, but you have access to growing. It's not something to brag about, but you have access to growing out proper hair. Unfortunately, Nabthatorin can't. His body is primarily this rear side is like chitinous shell. He is an armor-plated big ass demon, and you have a bit more of a humanoid figure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, trust me, given the option, Jacob would much rather, go back to looking much more like Jacob. But, no, I mean, it's going to be interesting because if he does find out who his mother was and the fact that she was, in fact, the mayor's wife, he is eventually going to want to speak with the mayor alone.
Sure.
And ask about his mother.
What is a beholder? A beholder is...
Eyeball boy.
It is a large, huge, gargantuan-sized creature. Large, huge, basically large to gargantuan. It never goes as large as colossal, but it's essentially a floating eyeball with multiple eye stalks attached to it, and underneath that eyeball is a mouth. It is arguably the most powerfully designed creature in all of tabletop gaming. Each eye stalk has its own ability. And the worst of it all is the primary eye is anti-magic. It's like the perfect anti-magic field. It shuts off everything, including dragon magic, which it is argued throughout historical lore that the magic is the birthplace of dragons, is the birthplace of magic. That magic was taught to man courtesy of dragons. So that's a lot of the lore.
Holy shit.
That's
Just post all the internet.
That's a big ass link. But there you go. That's accurate. Those are beholders right there. They vary per the location, per the biome, also per the setting, which is realistically it is a Wizards of the Coast property, but this was originally written when it was designed to operate for Wizards of the Coast games. So like 3rd edition, 3.5. So yeah, this book in and of itself it's a little dated, but it is by and large one of the best experiences I've ever ran. There's a lot of detail in it, lots of really cool stuff, but that is in fact a beholder.
Yeah, and if you guys think that beholder looks cool, look into the lore of how beholders usually act. It's really, really interesting reading.
Yeah, it's some good stuff. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed today's session. I'm going to go ahead and take a few minutes with the guys off stream. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you for hanging out. There's all the social again. Just in case you didn't, go hang out in the Discord. I'll be there in about, I'm guessing, 10 to 15 minutes. I appreciate you. Y'all are great. And we will be back next Wednesday. Given that nothing else happens, like fucking aliens or something terrible happens. But we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Love your faces. Take care of yourselves. We'll catch you in the Discord. Peace. We're out here, folks.